Acting Veterans Affairs Secretary Sloan Gibson says he won't tolerate intimidation or retaliation against VA employees who call attention to problems within the system. Speaking at a San Antonio VA hospital Friday, Gibson said he'd follow laws forbidding whistleblower payback. Gibson recently took the helm of the Veterans Affairs Administration. The agency is under fire after reports of veterans dying while on waiting lists for months just to see a doctor.
And here to talk about remembering, honoring, and taking care of our veterans is Steve Bucci, a former Army Special Forces officer who also worked at the Pentagon before joining the Heritage Foundation. Steve, let's address this latest report of more deaths, possibly due to long wait times at VA hospitals. It's troubling on many levels. What stands out to you, and what do you think is the solution at this point?
Well, I think that the solution is to get some real serious management down here and make some changes. The VA, while they've made a lot of improvements over the last 10 years, it still has a lot of pockets of industrial age systems that are just not sufficient for the volume they're dealing with.
And do you think there's the political will to bring in new management?
It's tough because you've got the government unions, there's all that kind of stuff involved in this. I hope to God that they have the political will, but it's going to take not just the will, but the will and the stick-to-itiveness to really get it done.
Now, many conservatives, of course, are saying that the VA troubles are a good indicator of what health care under the government will look like, i.e. the Affordable Care Act. Do you think that's a fair comparison?
I think it is, because you're talking about having to get doctors to sign up to pay these kind of prices or to work, in the VA's case, for the kind of salaries they offer, and it's very difficult. The president glibly said, well, if we need more doctors, we'll just hire more. Well, good luck with that, Mr. President, because you're not paying them regular doctors' wages.
So do you think that's been part of the problem at the VA, is the doctors haven't been paid well?
They're not paid sufficiently to get the extra numbers of people they need to really clear the caseloads that they have. That's a problem, and it's a problem that's going to be part of Obamacare as well.
Okay, let's talk about the 70th anniversary of the D-Day landings for a minute. Why do you think remembering these great moments in history is important?
Well, particularly D-Day, it's because they literally saved civilization. You had these young men and women, some women, mostly men, citizen soldiers. They were not professionals. They put their lives at risk so that we could have the world we have today. And they deserve our thanks and our remembrance at the very least.
Steve, how well do you think we are doing as a country overall in honoring our veterans at this point in time?
Well, we've made a lot of progress from the post-Vietnam era. We're much more mature about it than ever before, but clearly we've got a long way to go. We owe these young men and women a heck of a lot, and we deserve to take care of them, not just monetarily, but in health care and in our respect and in every aspect. So still a lot of work to do.
All right, Steve Bucci with the Heritage Foundation, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.